Well, more damning allegations are expected when the state capture inquiry resumes today. Former Bosasa COO Angelo Agrizzi last week told the Zondo Commission that some journalists were on the company's payroll. He also spilled the beans on how crucial evidence was destroyed and how some correctional services officials were allegedly bribed for contracts. Well, my partner Dan Moyane is live for us out in Parktown. That's where the inquiry has been taking place. Partner, very good morning to you. Now, if we can just pick up and just a quick, I suppose, summary, a reminder of what have been the highlights of Angelo Agrizzi's testimony, especially towards the end of last week, and where we're expecting to pick up this morning.
Good morning, partner. Indeed, you summarized some of those highlights very well in your intro there. Really, from talking about the bribing, the alleged bribing of correctional services officials, including the former Commissioner Lindam T, the destruction of crucial evidence, and of course the sourcing of information from the National Prosecuting Authority, the NPA, are just some of the highlights of Angelo Agrizzi's explosive week last week here at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. By the end of the week, partner, let us not forget, he had also raised the issue when answering some of the questions of bribery that, as far as he recalls, somebody at Bosasa, I think Mr. Lishabane, was also paying journalists and people from Lindela. And I remember very well Judge Zondo asking Angelo Agrizzi at the time, "You mean you're paying journalists?" He said, "Yes." To do what? The chair, that was his answer, to give information and to work with them. So we await. Who are these journalists? I do know that SANEF at the weekend held what it's describing as a productive and positive meeting with the Commission to raise, among others, this very issue of the alleged paying of journalists to provide information to Bosasa and work with Bosasa during the times of that investigation way back. Another thing that has come up very clearly, partner, during last week is the issue of that investigation that was done way back in 2009 by the SIU. And if you follow the track of questioning, the style of questioning last week during the hearings here, you will notice that there's been an attempt at least to corroborate what the SIU found and reported and concluded about the alleged corruption involving Bosasa with Mr. Angelo Agrizzi. Several times during his testimony last week, he was being asked whether or not what was contained in that SIU report was really something that he would identify with or closer to the truth or accurate, and several times Mr. Angelo Agrizzi would then confirm that. Now, that's one of the investigations, partner, that was done. I've got with me Sandile Swane. He's from the Vet School of Governance, and we were chatting just before we went on air, and he was pointing out that the SIU report is among two other investigations, rather, including the Auditor General, on this issue of Bosasa. So there's really nothing new. Bosasa has been investigated before. Mr. Swana, good morning. Thank you very much for coming. How should we then read this fact that what we're hearing here coming from Mr. Angelo Agrizzi regarding Bosasa and the SIU reports, for example, it's nothing new? How should we package all of this?
Thank you, Braden. I think the South African public, and the journalists as well, need to take comfort, actually, that there was this report, that the Auditor General did audit and find irregularities regarding how tenders were awarded to Bosasa. The Public Service Commission also, and the two entities then took that information to the SIU as well. So there was a third. Now the SIU was the third entity, acting after that on proper authority that was publicly gazetted by President Thabo Mbeki at the time, to say, go and do a thorough investigation. And that investigation was thorough and complete and concluded.
Nothing was done, though, about that investigation. I saw headlines at the weekend, one of them saying Tom Moyane, then the Commissioner of Correctional Services, allegedly blocked the blacklisting of Bosasa as recommended by the report that came out.
Yes. I think one simple thing for the public to be aware of is that Moyane did not have to block something where there was no need of blocking. So there was something that needed blocking. So the SIU report did make the conclusions, and Kenneth Brown and Lungisa Fuzile and Gordon went ahead and demanded that these people must be blacklisted. And the Department of Justice also demanded that, and Moyane then started blocking that. That's where the likes of Jiba and others, Mkhwebe and so on, started performing other activities to try and block this thing from coming to fruition.
So it's very clear then when we see these reports and we hear Angelo Agrizzi in a way corroborating what's contained in, example, the SIU report, that you could see that the bribery, the alleged bribe that was going on was indeed to pay people out to stop investigating Bosasa.
Yes, yes, that's very important. The fact of the matter is that the report simply needed to be converted to charges, actually. The things had been advanced. They had interviewed 28 witnesses. They had mirrored or copied the computers of the likes of Agrizzi. Agrizzi is actually in the hole because his computer was, even though they say they deleted the evidence, it was recovered and actually copied. So a lot of the senior executives had evidence against them coming from their own computers, let alone of the people they were corresponding with.
And then we know, of course, that most of that data, according to Angelo Agrizzi, about 40,000 documents, he told the commission last week, were destroyed.
Yes, that is good. I think that it's good for them to try and cover up. But you must remember that if I send you an email, as an example, yes, there's a record on mine. I can delete the email this side, but on the other people I was corresponding with, how am I going to go all over the show and delete all the evidence? Plus, there is evidence that we have on record that it was actually enough to make conclusions. 28 witnesses is not a joke. 28 affidavits is not a joke.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see there, Mr. Swane, what comes out today. Partner, I'm sure, like many South Africans, you saw the headlines at the past weekend that apparently there are now emails, and some of the media have got a hold of those emails, where Mr. Angelo Agrizzi was offered up to 80 million rand to shut up. That was last year, not to come and spill the beans. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any more light that will be shared today when he goes on the stand for his 8th day in a row here at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture.
Yeah, well, he certainly has been able to keep the news wheels turning in Greece, partner. We'll wait and see. Maybe he's saved something to start the week off, some fireworks on a Monday morning. Thank you, my partner Dan Moyane. We'll catch up with him in the next hour as well.